Well, some great improvements for the city of Bishop. We'll start off with the Bishop Area Chamber of Commerce and Visitors Bureau. They announced that the highly anticipated IMain Street project now up and running. Now, IMain is the system that provides free Wi-Fi access to people passing along Main Street and visiting Bishop City Park. The IMain Street concept first discussed at a Chamber Strategic Planning meeting in August 2012. And at that time, Angie Aki and Julie Faber led the discussion, and all Chamber board members thought it sounded like a great idea. Chamber Executive Director Tawny Thompson said, quote, "We began investigating logistics, budget, and possible funding sources," end quote. Now, when Inyo County Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Terry McAteer, learned of the IMain idea, press release notes that he expressed interest in collaborating with the Bishop Chamber. Said current Chamber President Julie Faber, the IMain Street project fits perfectly with the ICSOS's desire to improve technology and internet access for local students and families. Now, throughout 2013 and into 2014, Chamber representatives met with the ICSOS, City of Bishop staff, and several technical experts to develop system specifications and an RFP for the project. The group received bids from several providers, and ShotNet was selected as the contractor for the project. Now, the press release also notes the IMain project provides free Wi-Fi in public spaces along Main Street from Lagoon to MacIver Street and into Bishop City Park. Press release says IMain is not intended to replace a business's regular internet service. The system is simply not designed for one user to have all-day, everyday access to large amounts of broadband. Now, IMain is for the benefit of students that need to access the internet for homework and school projects, as well as visitors that may need to check social media, get directions, or answer emails. IMain users will be greeted with a splash page, and that's hosted at bishop.community. Now, the splash page has basic information about the program and links to lodging, restaurants, and activities on the Bishop Chamber's main website. And soon the Chamber plans to offer advertising for sale on that splash page. Advertising revenues will help offset the Chamber's ongoing purchase and distribution of the broadband. President Faber said, quote, "We're so proud of this project and so grateful to Inyo County Superintendent of Schools and the City of Bishop for working with us to bring IMain Street to our community." And Deb Murphy filed this story. Area shoppers who have squeezed into the parking lot off Warren Street north of J.C. Penney can rejoice. By May, there will be noticeably more room to both park and maneuver. The aisles and spaces will be widened, and the lot will have a name, Sycamore Square. Now, this is part of the Warren Street project. The Bishop City Council approved adding the lot improvements to the project at their last meeting. Now, Sycamore Square was part of the original project design, but not the construction option approved by the Bishop City Council. Said Bishop Public Works Director Dave Graw, quote, "We went with the middle option with the intent of adding elements as we went along," end quote, and saw that the money budgeted would cover additional improvements. Now, the parking lot will now include the alley next to J.C. Penney, allowing for more wiggle room. The lot will be repaved and feature tree planters on the east side of the lot to compensate for trees that had to be removed to accommodate the project. There will also be enough funding within the construction cap of $1.997 million to extend improvements north to include sidewalk improvements on Pine Street, Graw said. The total budget, including design fees and staff time, $2.142 million. And from a City of Bishop press release noting that the concrete work on the City of Bishop Warren Street Improvements Project expected to continue between Warren and Academy and Pine. The relocation of an underground phone cable has interfered with the work on the north side of the Warren and Academy intersection, according to a press release. The delay in getting the new cable could push the completion of work in this intersection into early May. Now, before this delay came to light, the contractor was planning to have the entire project complete about the beginning of May. The intention is still to have the entire project complete before Mule Days. You can see sierrawave.net for more information, and you can also see or contact the City of Bishop Public Works at 760-873-8458. And back over on Main Street, Bishop, the Bishop Chamber of Commerce also pleased to announce that several local businesses will receive free financial assistance with storefront upgrades. Now, in January, the Bishop Chamber announced a partnership with what they call a generous, anonymous local sponsor of the Bishop Building Improvement Project. Now, the sponsor provided $7,500 to be awarded through a simple grant application process with the goals of improving appearance and stimulating increased sales for stores in downtown Bishop. A volunteer committee convened to review the applications and, after careful consideration, has decided to fund 3 projects, including Mountain Rambler Brewery. Now, they're going to complete the circle sign that has been an empty frame since the grocery store moved out many years ago. Funds will be used to create and install a new Mountain Rambler lighted sign in the existing frame on the front of the location. Also, Thomas Photography and More. Steve Thomas is in the process of opening a new retail store on the corner of Main and Line, this formerly the site of Brock's Sporting Goods. Thomas Photography and More will feature vintage area photography, nostalgic candy, and other retail products and services, and the BPIP funds will facilitate replacing the lettering on the south and west facing building fronts to highlight the offerings. Also, Lions Limited Jewelers. Now, the BPIP funds will be utilized to enhance the existing storefront that's located at 316 North Main Street. The existing oval sign will be raised a bit from the current flat position above the business, I should say, adding dimension and drawing more attention to the business. The BPIP funds will also be utilized to add 2 decorative vinyl frames on the glass storefront to highlight the jewelry cases inside. Now, the press release notes that a 4th project may also be approved in this round of funding. However, the committee is not quite ready to announce the details of that proposal pending review of additional project information. And the press release notes the Bishop Chamber is grateful to the generous sponsor and also to the volunteer review committee. Well, Deb Murphy filed this story. Last Saturday was a good day to be a Piner. The Big Pine Volunteer Fire Department threw a party to celebrate the grand opening of its new engine bay, a 2,000 square foot structure with garage doors tall enough to admit high clearance engines and water tenders and gear for all 35 of the department's volunteers. Now, festivities Saturday afternoon included a barbecue, live music from Rearview Mirror, and an official unveiling of a department sign and building plaques. Deb Murphy continues, it appeared as if the entire community of Big Pine turned out, but counting noses was nearly impossible as locals, representatives from Bishop, Independence, and Lone Pine departments, and CAL FIRE moved in waves from the parking lot with all of the department's rolling stock spit shine and on display to the original firehouse and onto the new structure. Locals Kevin Caruncio, the Inyo County Chief Administrative Officer, District 4 Supervisor Mark Tillemans, and Sheriff Bill Lutz were also on hand. And Big Pine Fire Chief Damon Carrington provided the background of the new bay, starting with a list of past chiefs and the Board of Commissioners with the wherewithal to save the $352,000 needed for the new structure on an $220,000 annual budget. Carrington noted the effort that went into the new engine bay, including the weekly volunteer work, as well as Al Sterling's building plaque, Dave Coleman's contribution of rocks for the sign on Highway 395, and CAL FIRE's camp crew of woodworkers. The chief outlined future plans for a dual-purpose engines and a remodel of the original firehouse to include a museum, office space, and an official meeting room. The biggest audience reaction came at the introduction of Rick Kaufman, Lloyd Wilson, and the recently retired Chief John Marzano, who, between them, have a total of 135 years with the Big Pine Volunteer Fire Department. We thank Deb Murphy for that story, and we'll be back with more news.